You're watching The Bridge, connecting you, the people, with the people seeking to represent you in the Legislative Assembly and bringing you all the political information you need this election season. I'm your host, Ben Mead. Do stay with us. So come May 24th, the people of Bontown West will have a choice. One of those is Chris Saunders. He's an independent in that race. Chris, thank you very much for joining us here on The Bridge. You're up in Bontown West as an independent. You've got both parties challenging you. You've got a former MLA there. What do you say to the competition?
Well, first of all, I'm not running against anybody. I'm running to represent people. And I think that is a charge for my generation, is that we need to move away from the old kind of politics. I mean, I've said it before, the same thinking that got us into this mess can't be the same thinking that will get us out. What people have basically said to me is that they're not sure if the people are running to represent them or they're representing the party. But you have just dropped people within inside the district. For me, Bontown West, I've been there for the past 34 years. I'm 44. That's where I've grown. For me, it's home. So I just don't see it as a constituency. It's home. It's where my kids are. At one point, 7 of my grandmother, 10 children were living in Northward. So for us, it's home. And for me, it's about taking care of my home. So for those that are coming into Bontown West, I welcome them.
Election time, we all get hyped up. Some of us put on T-shirts, we go to our meetings and all that sort of stuff. And then a year in, 2 years in, people just don't seem satisfied, even after the euphoria after an election. Why do you feel that people seem to be so quick to be unhappy with their political leaders?
Well, a lot of people are upset, and rightfully so. And I picked it up when you go to the door and you speak to people. And a lot of it comes from people making promises that they can't deliver. And that is why it's very important for us to know the facts before we make a decision. When I sit down and I make a statement, it comes from research. I'm a CPA. I work with numbers. We forecast, we try to look forward. So it is not difficult to sit back and say, if you do X, maybe Y or Z could happen. But then you try to mitigate what is the greater good. So I'm not going to sit back and say that many of the politicians, past and present, deliberately got up and say, we want to mess things up. What I can probably say is, they have approached it and they have not sat down with the electorate and really have that conversation with them to say, what, this is why we're doing what we're doing. And as a result, you see the consequences today. So that's why a lot of people are upset.
You keep mentioning on the ground, going door to door, and I understand there are people in Bontown West who are behind you. Who are the people in Bontown West who are spurring on Chris Saunders in this election?
The hardworking people, not just in Bontown West, but even within the Cayman Islands, because I do get many calls from other districts just encouraging me. When you sit back and you meet people, you see their kids, you see their families, you see what it is about them that gets them up in the morning. It motivates you, it inspires you also.
You've not been shy about your thoughts about national issues, even constituency issues. What's your main focus for this election?
The main thing for me, Ben, is tackling the cost of living, the cost of retiring. That has been one of the biggest issues for me. And my entire campaign is actually based around how can we put money back in people's pocket, how can we reduce the cost of living. Some initiatives are very near and dear to me. There are a lot of single mothers, a lot of parents out there, and bringing back free health care for children is one of those. I think it definitely can save parents a lot in terms of their health insurance just by not having to cover kids. I think putting a pension there for retirees, because if you look at when the pension law was passed and people were 45 and 50, when the law was passed, would not have saved up enough. So one of the big things for us is at least trying to see if we can even do a little $600 a month, $700 a month, monthly stipend to retirees. And also, again, free health care for retirees. Because the measure for country is the quality of its people's life. And we can't just be sitting down chasing money, chasing dollars, looking at GDP growth, and at the same time not looking at the quality of people's lives. Another big issue for me is even something as simple as telephone costs. I have a very strong telecoms background. I have an idea how much those companies have spent. And one of the things for me that I think it'd be a big issue is even getting free Wi-Fi across the entire island. We have a flat island is perfect for technological advances, and I think even something like that would allow people to save money on a monthly basis.
No, we keep hearing on this campaign trail about the economy and the diversification of the economy, new pillars, all these sorts of things. What are these industries? What new pillars do we need to attract?
Well, first of all, it's definitely about looking at policies to protect what we have, first of all, because we have to recognize that we do have competitors that want to take what the Cayman Islands have. But also, how can we grow? How can we innovate? And I think that is where we do have to sit down with the industry stakeholders and see what's the best way to move forward. On the tourism front, I think there's definitely a lot of room for expansion. We have more hotels going up, but on a personal one for me, it's expansion of the domestic agricultural sector. I believe from a national security standpoint and from a health standpoint that we have a lot more that we can do there. And on the other side, the flip side of it, I just can't help but wonder sometimes if a lot of the sickness we have, some of the cancers that we have, isn't caused by the food that we're importing. So I think that's definitely one that's like near and dear to me.
We also know that you spent some time away from Cayman education-wise as well, and you would have seen experiences in other countries. Is there anything from your travels that is a lesson for Cayman?
Democracy itself has to start from the people and work its way up. If it starts from the top and work its way down, that's a dictatorship. And I've seen in many countries where politicians become complacent, and it's about the political parties maintaining power as opposed to representing the people. And we have seen the same example on nomination day with some of the surprises and even some of the candidates that are selected by the political parties. People that have absolutely no ties to the community, but you're not sure who they're there to represent, whether it's the people or the parties. And we need to be careful of that. You know, the other good stuff is that I also see a lot of people participating within the democratic process in many of those countries. And for us now, it is how can we build a democratic, a more participative democracy? How can we get more people involved? And I think that is the charge now for my generation in terms of doing away with the old way of thinking, but rather bringing more people together.
The people of Bordentown West have 4 choices come May 24th. What do you say to the people who are on the fence at this stage?
Well, what I would say to them is look at the issues that are important to you. Look at the people who have been fighting for those issues. I can tell anyone, go out and can Google Chris Saunders Cayman, and you can see that I am not a Johnny-come-lately. I'm not a fly-by-night candidate. I've been here, I've been in the trenches, I've been out there advocating for people, advocating for the issues. I'm here to represent the people of Bordentown. I'm not here because a party leader likes me, or I'm not here to represent a party to make numbers for a party. I'm here to represent the people. And I think that is the charge for my generation in the sense of working with people, bringing people together. Because one of the things you realize is that the same issues we have are the same issues we have for the past 20, 30 years. And what I've come to find is that the issue isn't the issue so much, but it's how we approach the issue. And we have been taking the same approach. So for people on the fence, if they believe that the same approach is working and they think things are going in the right direction, then by all means, return the incumbent, return people who have been there before. But if you believe that we can do better, if you believe that we can work together, then by all means, just look at Chris Saunders. Like I say, Google me, Google them, see what you see, and make a choice.
Chris Saunders, thank you so very much for joining us on The Bridge.
Ben, thanks very much.
Production services for this program is made possible by Sands Limited in the Cayman Islands.
For professional video production services, call 916-2082. That's 916-2082.